Hey, I'm Joe,
And I'm Joe.
and on today's episode we'll be making a corner storage unit. Okay, so the reason behind the storage unit is that in the entranceway of our house we've got this messy corner where everybody dumps their bags and it gets crazy. So we're just building something to store everything nice and tidy out the way, and yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so we're going to build a triangular cupboard storage unit that's like just triangular, and it's got shelves and two doors on the front, and then we're just going to put like a nice surface on it afterwards.
Yeah, and we'll probably paint it a nice color. Yeah.
Cool, so let's get going.
Right.
Okay, so we're back from the hardware store. We bought a big sheet of wood that they cut for us because it's just not practical for us to cut it ourselves. These will make up the shelves, these will make up the doors, and then these in front here, I don't know if you can see it, but these will make the backboards for the cabinet.
Okay. We also got hinges for the doors, got some wheels to stand the cabinet on, brackets for the shelves to rest on, wood varnish, brushes, turpentine to clean the brushes with, a special drill bit to make the holes for the hinges, and sandpaper before we apply the finish. Yeah,
Right.
let's get going.
The first thing we had to do was to cut the triangles diagonally. Ideally we would have liked the shop to cut this for us as well, but they don't seem to want to cut triangles. We ended up using a jigsaw to cut along the line, being very careful lining up the two cuts from either side. Okay, so that was the part that we were the most worried about, and it actually went pretty smoothly.
Talking about smooth, let's sand these babies down.
Yeah. This is our least favorite part of every build. Luckily there was less sanding to be done than usual. There were parts that took a bit longer because the shutter board we used for the panels splinters easily on the edges, so it requires some more attention.
Okay, so we realized we can't overlap the boards at the back when we join it. Otherwise, on the front, the doors won't be even.
The one will be a board shorter than the other one.
Yeah. So our solution is to put a beam on the inside.
You still have it.
Like this.
That's fine.
And then
There, like that. That will then we'll screw this to this beam here and this to this beam and to the beam over here. And then to make the shelf fit into this, we're going to just cut out a corner over here so that it will then sit around the beam in the corner and the boards will go on the back of it. That's the reason we have to do, because like on a normal cupboard you would normally have like a thinner backboard. But because we don't really have a back end to the cupboard, it's triangular, and the doors have to be mounted on the sides. It has to be a normal thick board that goes on both sides, and that's why we had to do this.
let's get going.
Cool. Once the corners of the triangles were cut out, the rest of the basic structure assembly went quite smoothly. There was a lot of measuring to make sure that everything lines up nicely. If this part is straight, the rest will just fall into place.
Right, so we've assembled As you can see, we started with the backboards, we attach it to the beam, and we cut out the corner on the shelf like we said we were going to. And
we mounted the
we
shelf.
mounted the shelf
If you
using
can
these little
see under there. Yeah, there we go.
using these little brackets over here. And it's looking good so far. Next step is to put the doors on.
Yeah, and like if we did a quick check earlier with the boards, and it's quite a tight fit, which means we'll probably have to sand it down. You see there already. It fits, but it's very tight, which means we probably measured it perfectly. So we'll just have to sand some of this down, and then what we're going to do is then we're going to install these hinges for the doors. We've never done this before, so we will need to figure it out. Like we got a special drill bit for this part because it's quite a sunken part that goes into the door, and yeah, and we'll have to measure this to make sure it's center and all that. Cool.
Yeah, so on to the next step.
While getting the doors ready, we could start getting an idea of what the end product will look like. Lining up the wood grains on the two doors really paid off in the end.
Okay, so we realized something. These adjustable hinges only make a 90-degree with our cupboard being triangular. It won't.
We need more like a 45-degree.
Yeah. The door won't be able to close. So we've resorted to using these butterfly hinges.
Yeah, the only issue with those is that they don't keep the door closed like the nice ones. Well, these ones do. So what we did was we also bought the little magnets to just go on the inside. So this goes fastened to the bottom, and then the magnet goes on the door, and then when it goes over it, it just sticks. Or just keeps it there.
Yeah, so hopefully that works. We'll
yeah,
see.
let's hope so. Now let's do this. These hinges were arguably a lot easier to install, but hanging the doors was really challenging. We spent a ton of time off camera just sanding away at the doors to make them fit properly.
Okay, so we hung the doors, which was quite a mission. Being triangular, there's no access from the back because we've already assembled the entire thing. So they look like they line up pretty nicely. In the center, it's quite an even gap. It's just on the edges here, it's catching a bit. So yeah, I mean.
Yeah, it's like you can see if you look on the edge, you can see that it doesn't quite line up, and it's exactly the same on that end, but on the other door.
Yeah.
So the way we're going to do, so we're just going to mark it out and just level it from here to the corner to make sure it's nice and even top and bottom, and then it also won't catch anymore.
Yeah.
But to do that, we'll have to take the doors off again.
Yeah. So we hoping we can just sand off the bit extra, and it should then line up perfectly.
Oh, by the way, we didn't use the cupboard hinges we said we were going to use. Simply
Yeah, I think we said that before.
Did we say that?
We swapped it for butterfly hinges, but we thought would be simpler or easier to hang, but wasn't really.
No, not at all.
Cool. Yeah, let's get going.
Cool. We decided that we'd need something with more muscle to help us sand, so we decided to get a belt sander for the garage. The belt sander is very dangerous and almost ruined the project. If you apply just a little bit too much pressure, it will take off chunks of wood.
Right, so sanded the doors. It's Oh, the belt sander.
This baby. This almost ruined the whole project.
Yeah, we should have tested it out on the other piece of wood first, but we got there.
Yeah, so it's actually lining up nicely here on that edge now. It doesn't catch anymore when you close it.
Bad. Oh, and close.
Perfect. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put the magnetic catches in to make sure the door stays closed once it's closed. And then the wheels.
Yeah, and then the wheels on, and then it's just painting.
Painting and finishing off.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll get to that.
Cool.
Cool.
Let's go.
So the butterfly hinges were a lot easier to install than the hinges we wanted to use initially. The problem with them was that they don't keep your doors closed when you close them. We decided to install magnetic catches to keep the doors closed. We also found the structure to be a bit flimsy, so we installed a crossbar under the shelf to keep everything together nicely.
Right, so doors are fitted. They're hanging quite nicely. With a bit of work. We also fitted this extra bar in here because the cupboard was a bit wobbly. It just gives it a bit more stability. And yeah, and we fitted these
Catches.
the magnetic.
Yeah, so what we're going to do now, we're going to just drill holes for the knobs. And then from there we're going to paint it and fit the knobs.
Yeah, and then we're done.
Cool.
Nice.
Let's do this. When drilling holes for your knobs, it's very important to measure. If you mess this up, the rest of the project will basically go down the drain. Nobody can take a cabinet with skewed knobs seriously. We weren't sure if we should go with 1 or 2 coats of paint, so we left a piece of board in the sun with a single coat until dry and decided to add a second coat.
Okay, so we're done painting. It came out pretty flippin' nice. And we bought a really nice top for it. You can see here.
This is what, blackwood, right?
Yes. We spent a bit more than what we should have, but it looks really stunning.
It's really going to finish the project nicely, I think, as well.
As you can see, it's a square, and our triangular corner storage unit, or whatever you want to call it, will need us to cut this.
Yeah, so we just need to like do the corner to corner thing. We're going to give it a little bit less than a corner because that way, otherwise the lip's going to be too big on the front.
Yeah.
So we're just going to give it a little bit of a lip at the back and a little bit of lip on the front, like about door width from the front. And yeah, so we're going to like mark it now and cut it.
And then
let's see where this goes.
put it on the top, and then hopefully it's done.
Well, I mean, this still needs to be sanded and sealed as well.
Yeah, so let's get cracking then. Cool.
Cool. And once again, the timbers didn't want to cut triangles, so we had to resort to the jigsaw again. This piece of wood was very nice, but also very pricey, so we only had one chance to get this right. Luckily, the cut was pretty straight and was easy to level with some sanding paper and some elbow grease. Okay, so we're done cutting it. We sanded it down as well. It's nice and smooth and straight now. Yeah, we cut it with a jigsaw.
Yeah, all went fine. No issues.
It's nice and round, so nobody will like lose any eyes or anything on the edges of it.
It looks amazing. It's really looking.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to seal it now with some clear varnish, and that should bring out the color even more. And then that's exactly the look we were going for.
Yeah. Once we're done with the varnish, and we'll put it on the top, and then we're done. Yeah, almost there.
Yeah. Cool, so let's do this. We wanted to be sure that the wood was sealed properly, so we first sealed the bottom of the triangle and then we fastened it to the cabinet. Once that was done, we sealed the top and sides. The clear varnish really brought out the color variations of the wood.
Cool, so it's done.
It's a bit wet though, so we can't touch at the top yet. The wheel's working and the door working. It was just working. There we go.
All done. I think it looks amazing.
Yeah.
The clear varnish really brought the hood color out. Yeah, and that's it, eh? It was a lot more graft than we intended for it to be. Doors are really hard to hang.
Yeah.
But it's there. Yeah, it's ta-da!
Ta-da! Perfect. Now we must just wait for this to dry and then it can start being used.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
See you again next time.
Awesome.